Welcome back to another episode of a very basic space program. Last time we failed to hit the moon or even actually fly past it. I'm not giving up on this though. I'm going to give it one more shot. So please join me. You find me in the VAB and we are looking at Lunar 2. Now I've actually modified this. I've actually got it for show you. We actually started building a second craft, Lunar 2. I'm not actually editing at the moment, so one thing you can do is, because I know that the majority of the craft is the same, I'm just going to change bits of it. I'm just going to design it like this, save it as Lunar 2, because we don't actually have a file saved as Lunar 2. Then I will go and open up Lunar 2, edit it. We might get to keep some of that percentage, we might not. It's not a major loss if we don't. So what changes have I made? Well, first of all, I'm going to add about 150 meters per second. So I've lightened this well, I've sort of lightened this probe core here. What have I done? Well, I've reduced the amount of battery. I've also turned off the experiments. We can turn them on later when they're actually near the moon. But we had a lot of battery power available to us, and we were sort of miscalculating a little bit. So we've done that. I've also added in the mass spec and the visible imaging. One of the little rules I'm going to have with myself is though that because I'm using visible imaging, I'm not going to spin this up. I'm going to try without spinning up, because I think if you spin it up, the visible imaging I think potentially would be blurred, but I'm not sure. So you tell me what you think. Is that a nice little house rule to have? I'm not sure, but we're gonna try doing this, I think, without spinning up. I might change my mind later on, but we'll see. So we've got significantly less charge on this craft. It says we've got 72 days, but if I actually show you this, if we turn on all of this equipment, it then starts saying, yeah, you've got 3 days. And if we have a look at transmission time, if we actually put transmission time up, it becomes hours. So if we just turn all this off, there we go. Transmission, when really low, is 72 days. If we put it on 1%, it starts to go down. So we know that we can actually put this thing into, hopefully into orbit, or no, not into orbit, but hopefully into a collision course with the moon, or just nearby flyby, or any flyby would be fine. Once we're in that sphere of influence, then we'll turn everything on, transmit everything we can, and we'll probably run out of charge quite quickly, but we're hoping we can actually get there first. So it's a bit of a push here. We're sort of putting the experiments into hibernation before they go into hibernation. Anyway, I'm going to put this under here, and actually one thing I forgot to show last time, let's do this now. So let's put this is the booster that we normally use, the Javelin, the 3D, and you can see there we go, we've got the decoupler and that lined up nicely, so that's good. I actually want to separate, in fact no, I don't. We're going to leave the fairing where it is, because when we decouple the fairing, then it's just me turning the RSS on and off to actually control those, which is fine. I don't like an extra stage. Right, what I was going to show you was the text, the decals. So if I take that one off to start with, we'll just put it there. You can have a range of these decals. If you go into the construction thing, if you've installed conformal decals, you'll get these little things, and you can have things like, you can have your flag. There you go, nice flag. One thing to remember is to look at depth. Depth is how far round. So if I actually do this, you can see the box has a depth, a 3-dimensional depth there. If I actually increase this depth, let's try this. You can see the box is now deeper, so that allows it to wrap around. And if I do the scale, you can actually see I can actually trim the sides in like that, even because the decal doesn't fit. Yeah, so we'll get rid of that. I'm actually going to put some text on this, so we're going to put a little bit of text on. So we're going to call that there. I want it on both sides. We're going to click set text, and we're going to call it Lunar 2. We're not going to use Roman numerals for this because I forgot when I was naming it. So there we go. And then we can choose our font as well. So we're going to choose, let's have a look. Let us choose, I tend to go for Amarillo US Air Force, but let's do the Nasserization on it for this one. And then we can just do what scale. Now close that. There we go. Now it is here, it's tiny. So what we need to do is we're going to save it, and then I'm going to reload it, and it'll actually show it up. So I'll be right back. Alright, I've reloaded it, so now you can see it, and now we can play around with the scale of it. Sometimes I've noticed this, and I don't know if it's how you've got them set or whatever, or if I've just made a mistake and now I've installed it, but sometimes you have to just save the craft, reload it, and it will reappear. It's a little glitch that gets a little annoying. So let's just drop this down. There's Lunar 2. We can make it a bit bigger. We can actually increase the depth a little bit. There we go. So there's the depth of Lunar 2. Now I should point out these are not without mass. If one of the reasons I'm not putting it on our actually probe there is because it loses about 10 meters per second just having a word written on it, which is sort of realistic. If you're painting on it, it would be extra mass. So I'm not too worried about that. So we're going to leave Lunar 2 like that on the body of that, but that's not going to be used so much. One thing I also needed to remember to do is, and it's a little thing you can do, we keep getting a warning when this booster separates, and what you can do is you can, let me find it, on detachment there is normally a thing, oh I've got some spare space in that tank I could put stuff in, there is normally an option, let's have a look, set to debris, never, so we can actually set on staging, there we go, once we stage it, it will be set to debris. Same with this one, we can do this one as well, set to debris, there we go. So now this probe at the top will be the only one that will actually be anything. The rest of them, this one which we'll be leaving in orbit, will not come up and be important. It will just be a piece of debris, which is really nice. It stops it being annoying and it means I don't have to go and find it and delete it later on. But it will exist in orbit as a bit of debris. So we're going to save that, and I'm going to basically swap it over for the other one. And then I will probably join you en route to orbit, maybe, I think. Yeah, I'll join you en route to orbit. We're not going to do just this launch in this mission. We'll probably do some other stuff, but yeah, I'll meet you on the way to orbit, or even in orbit, because you don't need to see this craft launch again, do you? Right, well, it seems I may have lied to you. Anyway, I'm not in orbit. We're actually having a look at the main screen. So I've done that swap. We've got Lunar 2 now. It's on 0% progress. I think if I'd have tooled the actual probe core, that might have given us a percentage, but 89 days is not a problem for us. So we're not rushing. We're not rushing. We hopefully will get this before the end of the year, and I'd like to get moving a bit. 1960 is a bit late for us, but we're not speed running. So why am I here? Well, we've got a little bit of funds that I don't want to spend, but we do have some science. So if we just have a look at our science options again, the next one we were looking for was this crude one here, which now we have, which means that as soon as we can upgrade the lab facilities, which we are working on, that means that we actually are going to have the ability to get a capsule sorted out. Now, I don't know whether we're going to use the Mercury one or the Mark 1 pod, or we go Russian and KV-1 entry vehicle. Soviet Vostok. That's interesting. There's the Vostok descent module. I've not noticed that being used before. That's obviously something that's been added recently, so that's cool. Of course, we need to build a craft that will actually send that up. So we're at that point now. Let me go launch this craft, and hopefully I will see you in orbit. Well, here you find me. We're on our final stage up, and I just thought I'd bring you back a little early just to see this. You can see our lovely Lunar 2 on the side there. This is the craft looking good. I'm gonna just oh, look at that. Have we got the sun coming up? Isn't that lovely? Absolutely stunning there. Lovely launch there. I'm gonna get this into orbit, and then I will see you as we start to prepare for our translunar injection. Right, welcome to orbit. We're actually spinning around, which is a little concerning. I hope we don't have a phantom force again that I've been getting in a few of the series. So we're in orbit. I've plotted this to do a direct sort of horrible, a direct impact on the moon. So if we actually go and focus on the moon now, so I've just set a maneuver node up and then positioned it so that it's going to go straight into the moon, sort of zero sort of perhaps as low as possible, and we're actually going to aim at that now. It's 3120. We have a 3285, so we're gonna fire this off. That means we've got about 165 meters per second extra available to us. I'm tempted to do something to change that. I'm tempted to drop it down because I've tried to increase us to give us about 150. So we're just going to time warp towards our maneuver node. We've got it set up. this is a little bit less than I would have liked. I think our orbit's not particularly perfect for what I wanted. I want to go to the node. I want to put on our RCS. I want to get to it. We also want to do this. We want to transfer some electricity. There we go. Get the electricity all transferred about. Wonderful. You'll notice our science is basically paused right now. I think we're going to try and do this without spin stabilization. I think we're there early enough. We're going to have about 30 seconds for this thing to do what it needs to do. Now, what I could do or will be doing after this is probably, if this doesn't work, we'll take a sort of probe, put it on here that's actually controlled by near Earth, and we'll then stick this on top of that. And we'll do some sort of RCS on there as well, of a light probe, so that we can actually control it a bit more, and we can refine that intercept, and then we'll decouple our little probe core off the top there. So that's going to be the future plan, and probably even if this one succeeds, I will not do another one of these, because it's just, you know, potentially you could waste a lot of rockets on this. Now, while this was going on, we did finish the larger launch pad, so that's going to be a possibility with the larger launch pad. So we're ready, and we're going to fire. There we go. Right, that craft out of there is out of electricity. We have electricity. We are full of the electricity. Come on, you can do this. We can do this. Keep going. Going. We can see the fuel going down, the delta V going down. What's going to happen? How close are we going to be? How close are we going to be? I don't actually care if we complete the mission. I know we've got to go very close to complete the mission. What I really want is just science from there, because now this is all about the science. We're dying down. We're dying down. Oh, we're dying down a long way. How close are we going to be? How close are we going to be? Oh, it's within 10. Oh, I think we're probably missing it. Are we missing it? Oh, we've hit something. Periaps is... Oh, no, you are kidding me. No, so close. Was it 5,000? I think it was 5,000 kilometers. Oh... Let's have a look. How short are we? Flyby 5,000 kilometers. Oh, that's tantalizing, isn't it? That is absolutely tantalizing. Oh well. Of course, you know, if we had a little bit of RCS on there or anything like that, we could refine this. We could bring it in, and it'd be fine. Oh right, that is. Oh, that's. Well, you know what? We could be worse off, couldn't we? We could be worse off. Right, now we're going to accelerate time. I'm going to run this forward. We've got how many days is this going to be? It's going to be in 4 days. Is it 4 days? We should have electricity for this. I'm hoping we have electricity for this. We actually had 2 units of fuel left, which is interesting. So what we do know is that actually I underestimated, and if we were doing this again, and of course there is variation, but if we were doing this again, we'd probably want to put another 10 meters per second on again. So that would be taking us to about, if you were doing this, something around, you know, 3,300 is nice, and that is from an almost 200 kilometer orbit. There was a little bit of extra there, but again, the problem is you don't know exactly where you're going to launch into. One thing I'll actually say, and I've talked about this launch vehicle and PVG before, one of the things to take into account with PVG is you've got to have a reasonably balanced launch vehicle that fits within certain parameters. I actually don't think, and I might go and try this, I don't think our launch vehicle would work with PVG because the thrust at launch is so low. We actually have to go up for a long time. I think you can fiddle with PVG and change settings and things to give it so that it doesn't start turning until a certain point. I think you'd have to do quite a bit of that, of refining it. I don't think it would be a stick it in and give it a go. So that's another reason why I don't do it, because I think you have to spend time perfecting it. I've left a tiny circle around there, haven't I? Look at that. Well, let's just imagine that's where the welds are holding it onto this tank. Now, one thing that would have been nice to see is actually if this tank had actually exploded, because I wonder whether it would actually damage this ring. Because it really should, shouldn't it? But you can get, these solids can actually explode. So I may have to see if I can do some testing to see, you know, if I overrun a solid or if we can just get it to explode, because I know that sometimes you can get them to explode. Right. So let's just fast forward this on a bit and get going with it. There we go. We're gonna have signal out. Yeah, we've got signal. That's wonderful. Right. I do not have the ability to make maneuver nodes, do I? No, I don't, because I'm guessing that's because we have a science probe. Interesting. Right. So we're just going to move forward here, and I can actually speed this up a little bit. We can get closer, and we're looking at the electricity there. The electricity isn't going down too much. That's good. Now let's have a quick check. We've got 3.4 science. So 3.4 science currently. We want to see just what we can get. Now our electricity is going down because it takes a long time. When you get out here, your craft is traveling a lot slower. Our orbital speed is slower, we're advancing slower. It's going to take us longer to get to where we need to be. So we're going to accelerate to there. Right. We have just over under 2,000 charge, and we have 3.4 science. So let's see what science we're actually going to manage to get from this. You can see our signal strength is low. That's going to be a problem because potentially we're going to have quite large packets to send back with data. So there we are. We're now, I believe, around the moon. So let's have a look. We have the ability to do this. So let's do all of this. Let's get it all going. Right, it's running. We're going to actually pin this because we're going to keep an eye on it. Because as soon as they finish, we want to actually be turning them off. We want to save as much electricity as possible. All right, so we've got 1 hour, we've got 18 minutes, we've got 8 minutes, we've got 3 minutes on the analysis one, and we want to turn that off as soon as it gets done. There we go. So we're going to turn that off because we don't want to use that again. Okay, we can see that done. So now we've got to manually handle all of this. We've got to get as much out of this as we can, because I don't think we're going to have a problem with the actual electricity actually looking at it. I think we're looking okay. Let's have a look what we're getting in. Okay, we're at 13.4 now. We may have a backlog for transmission. That may be one of the problems we have. Oh, we're about to run out of pressure and temperature. So pressure and temperature is coming next. Let's have a look. They are done now, so we can slow those down. We can turn those off. Right, now while the others are doing, let's have a look and see. I don't know if this is going to be considered to be low space. I don't think it is. I think you have to be a lot lower than that. But we'll have a look. We'll get down to there if we can, and actually have a peek at what's going to go on. So we can fast forward this a little bit, and we've got an hour and we've got 6 minutes. The next one is going to be the visual imaging that's going to finish. That's going to give us a chunk of data that's nice. Right, that's now finished, so we can turn that off. And what we can actually look at is, if we come in here and look at Lunar 2, what data have we got? Okay, so we've got visual imaging is transmission duration 11 minutes. That's good. Right, so this mass spec is sending. Can we actually? I want to flag it. Flag it. I want it to actually transmit this one. Make it go, because this one is a full packet. So we're actually going to be an hour in. When do we go there? Okay, we've got 20 hours. That's not a big problem. So we should get to the point where this is done, and we can get rid of that as well. Right, so we're just going to fast forward just a little smidgen more, keeping our eyes on everything. And of course, there we go. You can see there we actually got to a point where we got more data for the we basically had managed to transmit all of the mass spec that was backlogged, and that was probably because of all this stuff that was sending originally. If we had a slightly stronger transmitter, it would cost us a bit more electricity, but we'd have got rid of all that. We wouldn't have that backlog. And if we were going past really fast through a small body, sometimes you want to actually just get rid of all the stuff straight away because it's out of the way. But the bonus with Kerbalism at the moment is it does not have a space limit for data. It's got like an unlimited hard drive. If you're playing Kerbalism in stock, you have to put hard drives on that limit space, so that would be really important then. Right, we've got another 53 minutes there. I'm not going to talk over it too much. Let's just speed past it, and there we go, done. So then we'll turn that off as well. So now we're at a situation where we've got all that data gone, and we're at 34 science. So we've got about 30 science from that. That's going to be hopefully an upgrade point, I think. Right. I don't know if that is space high, space low, what it is. So we're going to come back to the craft, and we're actually going to... One thing you can do, we'll just keep an eye on this. We'll keep an eye on this and see if those change. And if those change, that means we're getting close to space low, space high, whatever it is. I would love to know where the boundary is. I'm guessing it's going to be about 5 kilometers, because that's the boundary they want you to fly past. They want a low fly past, I'm guessing. It'd be nice if it was 25, because we dip into there for a reasonable amount of time and probably be able to get some of it. Oh, I tell a lie. Have we finished that? That one's not finished. Oh. I thought that one said that it had 2 seconds to do. How interesting. Maybe it just did it. Alright. So we're just going to run past here. And don't want to go back to the Space Center just yet. Right. Where is the moon? Let's have a look. Can we see? There's the Earth. Where is the moon? Where are we? Where are you, moon? Where are you? Where are you? Because it'd be interesting. Now we're facing you. According to this, we're facing you. Oh, you're there. We're actually coming on the dark side of the moon, which is not actually the dark side of the moon. We call the dark side of the moon the far side of the moon, and yeah, it's not always dark, and the front of the moon is often the bit that we see. The near side is often dark. So yeah, let's have a look. Right, that's going to be our first view of the moon close up. This is our first probe to come anywhere near the moon. Lunar 1 did not get high enough to get good pictures of this. And of course, if I was playing with Principia or Principia or Principa or whatever you want to call it, I think it's named after Principia Mathematics by Newton, but I'd have to check that. If we were playing with that, then our orbit of this would be a bit different. We potentially could actually do a bit of a swing round in an interesting way, because the gravity of the moon is quite an interesting thing. I believe at certain inclinations around the moon it's stable. At other inclinations it's really quite random, and you can actually just go off in completely weird directions. Gravity can really throw you around. And I think was it one of the Apollo craft that launched 2 handheld satellites. They dropped them off when they were in orbit of the moon, and one of them crashed down pretty quickly, and the other one basically orbited for quite a long time, even though they've been released very similarly, just because of the turbulence of that gravity. So there we go. We're quite a distance up, or still, aren't we? How long until perhaps we've got another hour to go, so we can afford to close in a little bit more. There we go. We're going to swing around past it. That's lovely, isn't it? Getting ever so much closer. There we go. Got another 4 minutes, 3 minutes. So we're not going to get near science, which is disappointing. It'd be really nice to get near science, but that's our first probe anywhere near the moon, which is really nice. It's not as great as it could be. It's not completed the mission that we had, but it has actually been an achievement for us. We've managed to get a probe to sort of, fly past the moon without actually using any guidance, and with using a solid, which I did not think I was going to be able to do. So that's well done. So note to self, really, I would probably say in future, I would probably overload this craft with, I'd probably design it, if you're going into a 200 kilometer orbit, I'd probably put an extra 10 on, so I'd probably make it 3,300, 3,290 would probably be maybe my target, or something like that. And I think that would give you a good shot at it. But again, this because of residuals and variance in thrust and variance in fuel use and things like that, there is a lot of variation that can come in here. You could be really lucky. The first time you fly it, it could do all these things. The second time, it could just vanish. It could just miss completely. It could go crazy. So it's a risk because it's unguided. So what we're going to do is, just to finish it off, we're going to put all the experiments on. Oh, actually, no. Have I got... You know what? This craft has not finished, has it? Because it's going to come back out of the moon in 20 hours, and then we can actually do space high for some of those experiments that we haven't run before. Oh, this craft is not yet done. Right, we should have enough electricity for this, I'm hoping. We've turned off all of our equipment, so let's just fly it out there. Is it still going to have signal is the important thing. The signal is going to be poor, but we should still have it. Right, so this craft is not finished. We can still get some more science out of it. 134. What can we get? That's the question, isn't it? We've got a bit of electricity there, which is good. And we're going to head back towards the Earth soon. So we could, even if we don't get signal, right, we're now back in the sphere of influence of the Earth. So what can we do? Let's turn that on and turn the visual imaging on. So we can get the mass spec, we can get the visual imaging. Temperature we can't get because we've already got it with the previous Lunar 1 got temperature, pressure and telemetry, but we can get these two, which is really nice. and then they'll be done, and that's it. That's a little bonus for us. So we're just going to let those run through. There we go. Wait for all of the electricity to die down. Again, I'm going to turn this one off. This is a little, I don't know if this is cheaty or not. I think you'd have a probe that was able to turn off its equipment, which we're paying for the actual science core to be able to manage it all. So surely it would be able to have a couple of little relays in there that would turn the power off to these systems and then turn them back on, surely. I mean, we've got the ability to not have them running all the time, so it automatically stops them running. Look, so and puts them in wait mode, so surely that would be allowed. Let's just check our transmission. Yeah, we're fine for that. Our solar storm in progress. Ooh, now that's interesting. I've not seen a solar storm before happening. Solar storm is in progress. 4 hours. Good to know. Thank you for that. Right, we've got a chunk. This actually is nice. It tells us how much we've got. Right. We're going to run this on just a smidgen more. Keep it going. Do-ba-do-do-do-do. There we go. All done. Right. We are done. Now, the next question is it going to come? No, it's not going to come back to Earth. That's annoying, isn't it? It would be really nice if we'd have actually come around the other side of the moon. It's potential, because we've actually had a very flat encounter. Potentially, we could have got a gravity desist. Is there such a thing as a desist instead of an assist? What we actually did was, I think we came across the front. We'll have to think about. Yeah, we came around the back of it, I think, and then swung around. And anyway, it's basically we came in and we did that sort of this, and we're doing this. So we could have got a better one, but we'll see. Anyway, right, let's get that going. I think we've got all of the science we can from this. Is there any more data transmitting? I don't believe there is. There's no sample. So we've got 42.6 science from that little tiny rocket. And of course, it's a little rocket that could. I think, you know what? You get to stay. I'm going to keep you. Lunar 2 gets to stay because you have been a good rocket. You're going to run out of electricity though. So what we're going to do is we're going to not do the log. We want to put this on. So we'll turn that off. And then we're going to turn off the complaints of battery and supply. Okay, so the vessel's still going to be on, but we're not going to get warned when your battery dies, because your battery is going to die. So let's go back to the space plane. To the space center. Right. So back in the space plane center. I keep want to say the space plane center. Back in the space center. We can actually see we've got no vessels being built. The Coniston is waiting, but we can't actually use it, I've realised. We're actually going to unmount it because it is actually at its max. I think it could go to 75 and come back safely, but I think it's a little cheaty to do that, considering 70 is its surface ceiling. So we're going to unmount that. I don't need to, but we're going to do it anyway. Of course, the Coniston 2 is the cockpit, I believe, that survived, so that's quite amusing. So we have a situation where we've got our launch pad is finished, so we've now got 2 of those. So we've got Launch Complex 2 is a 60 ton, Launch Complex 3 is the 150, and I've realised I want to rename this one because there's a space there, and that's going to annoy me. So there we go. Right, so that's 150. So we have the ability to go to 150 now. We have tech in entry, descent, landing, human rated EDL, all this stuff here. So the next step will be that human one that we need to do, and we need, I think, 20 for that, so we need to allocate something for that. We do have upgrade points, so we've got 2 upgrade points to spend, and I'm gonna put them into R&D, which might seem a bit weird because we have to build a bigger rocket coming up, but no, it's going in R&D because I want to start getting through this stuff, because that's going to be 1 year, 2 year, we're looking at 2 more years before we're probably going to be able to launch a person, which is problematic at best. So we're going to need 28 for that, which means 28 off that is, I've got 18 left, I think. So I've got 18 left to spend. What do I want to spend it on? Do I want to go digital communications? That gives me tech level 2 comms, and it gives me another tracking station increase, which would be useful because it gets us towards interplanetary. Do I want to go the avionics, which would give me deep space? Oh, now that again is useful, and that would get us underway, and deep space would be useful for sending something to orbit the moon, because deep space would allow us to actually control it, because at the moment our near Earth won't control at the moon, and our science cores. I think they've removed the N and H little thing you used to do with science cores, which was use your RCS to go forwards and backwards when you've got just a science core. I think they've removed that. I think it does come back like at one of the avionics levels, but I can't remember if it's level 4 or level 3 or level 5. I would really like deep space though, because you can just shut off the actual thing. However, they do drain power like anything. So that's a thought for that. We could alternatively go for a blue sky node, and then we can really push on with more stuff, and we can get some more science, because we've got orbital perturbation, infrared stuff, and we do need more science. I think alternatively we go for bigger engines, and I'm not sure about that. We could go for the space plane engine. We could also invest up here and go for the 1.25 cockpit, which would allow us to get some, that would be a shortcut, wouldn't it? That's 12 and 3. That would allow us to get suborbital hops with the Coniston. I think the Coniston would be able to do that then. So it'd be 3, 15, and then potentially that would give us the XLR 99, which is a really nice engine for your Coniston to fit on. And that would get us, I think, to it. I think we could get suborbital there. We could do suborbital hops with the humans. And then possibly we'd be able to survive that. So I'm going to think about that between episodes. Comment down below. I'll probably have chosen by then, but what would you do? Would you go for that? Alternatively, we could always upgrade, I think, the casters. We get a vacuum caster, we can get our sea level caster upgrade, which would be nice. Or we could go solar panels, get some improve our solar panels. Again, we'd have to go through this. So tell me what you think. What would you like to see? What do you think is the right thing to do? Because I'm not entirely sure about the next step. Do we go space planes? Do we go for capsules? Capsules have a longer shelf life for me, because I would have to go all the way up to here to get re-entry equipment, and then you get into this sort of stuff, and then you might as well build your own capsules. So yeah, tell me what you think. So we're gonna, next episode, I think we're gonna modify the Javelin 3. We're gonna probably call it something else, probably call it the Javelin 3 and then a number to help me, because I've got a plan for it. And then we're going to try and put a bigger payload on the top, and we're going to try to actually get these impactor and these flyby missions done and sorted. And we'll put some science on there. We may have to force a force ascend science thing, because we've now done some other stuff with our science, which is going to be annoying actually thinking about it. Anyway, from me, until next time, have a great one.